As you read in the title, this video is about it being time for us to stop sleeping on ourselves, especially those of you who know you are very, very talented, very gifted at something. For me, it's music. Also, I am, I channel and stuff like that. So I know I'm supposed to be using both of those gifts and talents in a way. And if you resonate with me, you probably in some way, shape, or form have a talent, gift that you need to be at least working on and putting yourself out there and just taking yourself seriously and stuff like that, because no one will take you serious until you take yourself serious. So much love in the streets, penthouse stand Perry for the week. No, when I need peace, we must be destined to be. Please don't wake me up from the sleep, no penchant dreams. Being hungry is happy to be, cause you know sat in the sheets and a love like makeup. Hello, my name is Interstellix and thank you for joining my channel. You can call me Lexi for short. I am a creative rapper. I make music, but my expertise is rapping, and I'm a little intuitive, so like I can channel messages from time to time, and I will, and I have in the past. If you listen to the podcast, I had a podcast called Interstellar Podcast, which I think I'm going to just name this Interstellar Podcast too. I'm not sure. It may just be like a vlog thing. Not sure yet. But it depends on how long this video ends up being. So yeah, I used to have a podcast called Interstellar Podcast, and where I used to kind of just share my thoughts and lessons and channel messages as I was learning the lessons and as I was like receiving downloads and stuff. So this is kind of something like that, but now it's just like me in front of a camera. And yeah, so I hope you enjoy. I hope you stick around. I hope you are interested in the topic and me, and I hope you stick around to share your thoughts at the end of the video as well in the comment section, because I am very open to communication, and you know what I mean. But yeah, so basically it is time for us to stop sleeping on ourselves, especially creatives. We can't sit around anymore. We can't wait for help from the wrong people anymore. We can't make excuses anymore. We are completely and 100% responsible for how successful we are in this life or in our career. And if things don't work out or things don't happen as fast for you, that doesn't mean it's the end of the world. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that it's not meant to happen. It's more of just like maybe, you know what I mean? Sometimes God just takes you down a path just to show you the real path, or, you know what I mean? Sometimes he's just protecting you from something, or there's still something you have to learn before you get what you want. You know what I mean? So this video is also about setting boundaries as a recovering people pleaser. Trying to work through all the guilt and shame, those feelings that you get for deciding to remove yourself, disconnect physically or energetically from people who, places and things who no longer serve you or that your soul is calling you from. You know what I mean? We're gonna talk about that as well. It's probably gonna all kind of go intertwine. So I did write notes, but I feel like what I'm going to say is gonna it's not gonna be topic after topic. I feel like it's gonna be more of like a kind of intertwined type thing, the two topics, because I feel like they go hand in hand in a way. Because in order to stop sleeping on yourself, you kind of like, my issue, what I learned was I was like kind of losing myself in connections, or putting so much of my support, like over giving and pouring so much of my love and support into people who had no intention of ever like reciprocating that with me. You know what I mean? They weren't in a place to reciprocate that with me. Not even just people, like, just putting my energy into jobs that my soul was just like dreading. You know what I mean? And that wasn't really paying enough. You know what I mean? So yeah, just that's what I'm learning or I've been learning. But the song of the day basically that really will sum up this video, or just kind of touch on the theme of this video, is called Never Know by Black. And it's a line in there where he says, I got tired of people telling me I'm next up, man, I got my shit together, then I stepped up. That's my mindset right now. You know, like you kind of have to be in that energy in order to get what you want. You know what I mean? Because like the reason I was like, you know, so disappointed in the past when things didn't work out or whatever is because like, again, I would like accept compliments from people. Like people would tell me how much potential they see in me or whatever, how much you know, how I need to like literally as I was recording this, my sister just texted me like people in my life have been what's it called, I don't want to show that. Okay, hopefully you can see it, but I have people in my life like just telling me about my music and telling me like you need to stop, you know, focus on it, focus on it, focus on it. Even like my whole spiritual team, like, and it's like, or just telling me like, yeah, you're really good, you're talented, you need to like pursue this, whatever. And it's like it's not that I haven't been pursuing it, but I just haven't been taking myself as serious. You know, I haven't, like, I did put my head down. Like once I decided to rap, I did put my head down to an extent, but then I got distracted because I had issues of me, you know, being alone so long, you know, like having to do things on my own so long, like, you know, lacking neglect and like not, you know, complete neglect, but like emotional nurturing neglect and like really just having to grow up fast and like do things on my own and like really struggle to get it and stuff like that. I got tired of that, you know, in a way. Like I just was like, I was begging God for some help, and then like the first person I came across, like I was like, help, and like I just kind of like, you know what I mean, was like really trying to hold on to that. But then like the lesson was like, watch who I look for help in for, who, like, you know, like no one can help you until you help yourself, if that makes sense. Well, it should make sense, but it's like, you know, I was like kind of almost looking for someone to save me. Like, yes, me wanting help, nothing's wrong with wanting help, and like God will send you help. Like, and I learned that the help God sent, there won't be any friction. You know what I mean? Like people will literally just want to invest in you and they want to work with you. But you have to be in a mindset though of, in order to come into alignment with those type of people, you have to be in that mindset that like understanding that help will be on the way. Or you know what I mean? And like, you know, you will meet people along the way that'll help you along your path. If you're in that state of feeling like you looking, even if you're not even thinking like that, but you know what I mean, like subconsciously, like I guess I got into a state of like looking for people to save me in a way, or like really just, you know, kind of like put me on in a way. That's not the way to go about things, you know what I mean? And I don't think I even want that for myself either, because you know that I don't really hyper independence in me. I don't really like people having a stick to say that they made me or something, because you know what I mean, like if you're creative, like, and you stick to it and you're like, you know, God is like, you know that this is your calling, whatever, then you know you're going to be successful in some way, shape, or form with it, you know what I mean? So it's like I don't even want to get to a point in my life where, you know, success started rolling in that department, and you know people started coming out of the woodwork telling like I made, you know, like, so it's like when God, like when, not when God, when situations don't work out, like when you get no's, or when things just don't work out as planned, it's not the end of the world. Like it's really just like rejection is protection for real, you know? And you really want to work with people who value you, you know what I mean? And like see that truly and like treat you as such, you know? And I think this lesson I went through, it helped me to like really value the help, the real genuine help that I do receive, you know what I mean? Because you just value it more. You do everything you can to make sure you don't mess up, you know what I mean? Like very open about like fears and stuff, or you know, like things just flow. Everybody's just open-minded, you know, like-minded, and you know they want to work, because like I do have fears, insecurities, and I'm still like healing from people pleasing. So like I still have an issue with speaking up and like setting boundaries and stuff. So when I want to negotiate things, like I'm learning now, like I'm not someone to run over now, but it's more just like I was afraid to kind of speak up for myself, and that like when in childhood that wasn't something that when I was really young, that wasn't an issue for me. But growing up, especially when you got parents who who believe that children don't have a voice, an opinion, or feelings, or you know what I mean, aren't really people. Like that does mess with you in a way, especially if you're like the eldest daughter. The shit that come with that, on top of having to grow up fast, and at the same time you don't have an opinion. You can't say no to not wanting to do anything. It's just like everybody's responsibility, or no, you're responsible for everyone else, and taking care of yourself is kind of like pushed to the bottom. You know what I mean? You're conditioned to like put yourself last. Yeah, I had to really learn how to be my own cheerleader, and like I said, like being hyper independent. Like I had to really teach myself how to drive. I had to learn how to get my own car. Do a lot of things by myself, and doing this even is me kind of doing it by myself. I have like little to no support, and like this recent disappointment that I went through, what got me caught up was I was like really wanting help in a way. And I still gotta get help, like with therapy, because I realized like I had like a lot of that came from childhood shit, like abandonment issues, there's people not holding their word, and like stuff like that, like mother and father issues in a way. But like I said, I've always been like a go-getter when it comes to my dreams. It's just trial and error, and I actually am glad that I learned these lessons, because now I know what I want, and I know what I needed to fix and work on in order to keep these connections that I am bringing in, or am like creating right now. So that's the brighter side of things. And I understand, like with being me healing from people pleasing, like setting boundaries is pretty hard, especially because you feel guilty for putting yourself first, prioritizing yourself. And the fact that I even goes as deep as, bro, like I realized that in my family, people like to bottle things in until they reach a point where they have to blow up, you know what I mean, like where they have to react, and I realized that like I had that issue too, like I kind of adopted it because that's all I've seen, like getting to a point where there's an issue but people sweep it under the rug, but then instead of just expressing it and addressing it right then and there, they like kind of just do stuff, petty stuff, and then like you can get in an argument, a screaming match, all because of like you forgot to grab straws or something, you know what I mean? And that's something that I've had to like really work, especially after my breakup with my ex. Like it wasn't like that bad. I don't think I wasn't like like I didn't really fuss at him, or like not like that, but like even if I wasn't fully there, I've always tried to like make sure I address the communication part differently, you know what I mean? But I still struggle with that in my first like serious relationship, because I didn't know, I was very young. So like, I learned that like, setting boundaries like doesn't mean like not everybody is going to react in a crazy way when you set a boundary, you know what I mean? Or I shouldn't also wait until I feel like someone has seriously crossed the line to set a boundary, you know what I mean? I need to set these boundaries up front, stick to them. And then I learned that I don't want to work with anybody or hang with anybody who has an issue with me setting the set boundaries, you know what I mean? Even in the slightest way. Like if you get offended and take me setting a boundary as mean, or like I'm trying to, I don't know what, whatever negative connotation can come with setting boundaries sometimes, or me thinking I'm too uppity, too good, whatever, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want, it's like setting boundaries is the best way to tell who is for you and who isn't, you know what I mean? It's just the easiest way. You eliminate a lot of hurt, time having to heal from people. You eliminate a lot of having to sit down and heal after each connection because you didn't stick to that boundary that you set for yourself, you know what I mean? That's what I'm learning. A lot of the disappointment and stuff that I kind of went through all was because I like boundaries, and I just refused to also have some other issues that I had to work through as well. Like fears and shit, I had to work through. I had to learn that as well, not to really take it personally when people set boundaries for themselves, like they know themselves, they know what they want out of life. And that doesn't necessarily mean like when they set a boundary that they're like bad people, you know what I mean? It's more just like they know their limits, they know what they would tolerate in this lifetime and what they won't tolerate, you know? Now I'm getting into that energy, you know what I mean? Because it only helps me, you know, it helps me, protects me, and no one else can protect you like you can protect yourself, to be honest with you. So I'm like really reflecting on what I want in relationships right now on all levels, like business, romantic, platonic, and even in my family relationships. You know, I'm also learning how to like live in the present as well, and like let go of the past, let go of the hurt of the past, and just enjoy the moment, and like stop holding people accountable, whether they change or not. Stop holding them accountable for what they did to me in the past, unless it's like something extreme. But nothing is really unforgivable in a way, because forgiveness is like not, it's like for you. And I'm really understanding that now. Like, again, people pleasing me, like I felt like I was kind of conditioned to believe that forgiveness was allowing people full access back to you, you know what I mean? And like having to explain, you know, why you set a boundary and whatever, you know, or at least fight for why you setting this boundary. Like anybody that like really gets upset about that is not someone you should be around, you know. And I dealt that a lot, that growing up I wasn't really allowed to say no, like a fucking slave. So but like, you know, I just learned that I had to put my foot down. It sounds like some people you will just have to put your foot down with, you know. And you know, and not to like, you know, provoke anything like within, like, you know, I had a lot of run-ins like with my mom and whatever, but like I learned that there's a way like you can just set a boundary and like just not engage in like, just people take it the wrong way, just like I'm not trying to meet it that way, and just keep it pushing, you know what I mean? My lesson right now is really to not even feed into negativity. Like I don't even care what lies or what people are saying behind me, or, you know, people who aren't supporting me, whatever. I used to really focus on that, and that's where I got distracted, because I was so stuck on why people, like, why did this happen like that? Why didn't they support me? Why didn't they love me right? Why didn't they, you know, do all this? Or why did they like, why were they smiling in my face, and why did they like turn on me like that? Like getting stuck on that just leaves you stuck exactly where, you know, like it just leaves you stuck, you know. It's just like really learning to like alchemize negative energy again. Like like I said, like I've done it, I learned about alchemy once I started making music, because it did really help me heal on my healing journey. You know, especially when I had my first few awakenings, when I, like, you when you had ego death, like that's when I just started deciding that I wanted to like rap and like writing my first real songs and stuff like that were like very depressing. But, you know, it really helped me get to where I am right now, you know. So yeah, like I am in a place where I am very excited for my future, and understanding now that like the only person that can get in my way is myself. And like even feeding into the idea that like anyone can like really fuck up what God has for me, you know what I mean, or discourage me from doing what God has for me, because he will pull your ass. Like I said, like it's some of us creators out here that like, it's like God is like, get ready or I'm gonna make you ready. You know what I mean? Not saying that's like, that shows up in different ways. That doesn't mean like you're gonna blow up overnight. Where it's like, you know, like he's gonna basically make it loud and clear like what you need to be focusing on. And I think that's just what I went through. Like really just showed me like how to really see the potential in myself, and like just really stop pouring into other people. Like I have an issue with overgiving because of my growing up the way I did. You know what I mean? Like just feeling like loving someone is like pouring my whole cup of love on them, you know what I mean? And choosing to do that to people who like never really had any intention to pour back into me in a way, you know what I mean? Like I said, on all levels, you know? So like I used to overgive to jobs, I used to overgive to friends, family. Like it's not just on like a romantic level when I say love, you know? So or just overgiving in general. So, and I learned that like I had to work through the resentment that I had towards people, because I had to realize that resentment was a lot came from me expecting everyone to like reciprocate what I was giving them, you know what I mean? Like, if that makes sense. Like, I'm learning that like putting expectations or on outcomes, or just expecting people to love the way that you do or show up the way that you do in a relationship, in a partnership, collaboration, isn't always guaranteed. And I also learned that I can choose to work with people depending on what their language is, you know what I mean? Because again, especially when it goes to business wise, I feel like in order to be like a great business partner, like you have to like give, you know, it's like a equal giving, equal take relationship in order for business to work, you know? So I think that goes into like just accepting people for who they are. Like, you know, like it's like a lot of layers to it. Like, forget, like this healing journey shit, man, is not as easy as people may think it, make it seem in like a 30-second TikTok. You know, you really have to unlearn a lot, and you have to learn a lot about yourself. You have to realize, come to a lot of truths that may hurt like hell, to get to a point where you can just be like, okay, like it is what it is, and move forward. And I'm thankful that I'm realizing, like, because today is the 16th. That's why I said I'm intuitive as well, because I am really feeling called to record right now, and have been over the past this whole month, but it's just been a struggle up until we got into the new moon energy, where I started having realizations and, you know, started coming to like a more balanced understanding of things in a way, you know what I mean? Like, not really placing the blame on other people or being in denial about situations anymore, because like they let me know up front what type of person they were, you know, and I'm always able to do that because I tie it back to like, you know, like looking back on the encounters I may have had with people or whatever. It was loud and clear that they were this type of, you know, it'd be loudly like you just, a lot of these situations is just like you being blinded by potential and like seeing potential in others, or you just being blinded because you just want something so bad, and you would be so ready to just take anything in a way, you know what I mean? And that's not okay. We are very deserving of getting back exactly what we put out at the same frequency, and that's what I'm learning as well. Like, I don't have to compromise myself, I don't have to put on a performance, I don't have to convince someone to see my value, you know what I mean? I don't have to convince anyone to see my value, my worth, because the people who will, and the people who are supposed to will, and they will invest in you in a way, you know what I mean? It's not always about money, it's more just like they will literally invest in you in a way and support you in the best way they can, because they understand, they see you, and you most likely see them, and you're just like, you know, you just work well together. It's never having to beg anyone to love you, choose you, work with you. Is the moment you feel like you have to do that, then it's like, sometimes like you do have to check and see if you're just like projecting in a way as well. Like, these people might not even like are trying to come off that way. Maybe you're just like, you know, doing a little much, you know, like getting too, like I said, getting too caught up on trying to force a specific outcome to happen, and not like in a terrible way, you know what I mean? Like, some people do that and like they go to the extreme, you know, but it's like trying to force an outcome to happen because like ideally it will be something that, you know, is what you want, and like I said, with hope, you know, or like love in some areas for some people. It was me as well, and whatnot, and validation as well. Like, 2022 was the year I decided to stop kind of like listening to everybody in a way, like especially when it at least came to my dreams and my goals, you know what I mean? Allowing people to tell me that I should be doing something else instead, or that it's not going to work out. Like, no, like I learned how to be my own cheerleader, as far as like knowing where I want to be going in life, you know. Not always though, because I used to like, I was very confused about what I wanted out of life. Like, when I got out of high school, I went straight into corporate America and healthcare, administrative side. But other people would give me advice about their routes and how it made them happy. And it's like, I'm a creative, you know, like I'm the type of person where I don't even want to go a certain route just to make the money if it doesn't involve any creativity. Like, you know, I remember it was one time I was being suggested a lot to be like, become a nurse or something, just so I could have the money. And it's like, that's, how much time and energy you have to put into that, you know, that type of feel in order to just, like, I get the money part, it may be nice, but like, is it worth it in the end? I mean, now you just have debt and regret, you know, that you didn't start what you really wanted to do earlier, you know. And there's no shade to people. If that's how you learn, that's how you learn. But that's just something I even tried, but like I knew that wasn't my route, you know, deep down. So this feels a lot better, and I'm just so glad that I'm like just getting to a point where not even like I'm really am releasing control in a way. Like, again, there's some things in your life that we are in control of, which is like, I know I'm meant to be a creative. I know I'm supposed to be putting out music. I know I'm supposed to be like doing something, even if it don't pop off this year, next year, 2-3 years from now. Like, I know this is something I need to be doing. In my last podcast too, like I was like, like in the title, I was like, discipline is required to manifest your dreams. You know, because like that's truth, one, but like, you know, like it was kind of like myself talking to myself, like it's time to really put things into action. Really just calling your power back. Time to call my power back. Time to put all that effort and energy that I would put into other people back into myself. Put into other jobs, putting back into, you know, putting into myself, and like taking myself seriously and loving myself. Because how are you looking for help, you know what I mean, and you can't even help yourself, you know what I mean? Or you're so willing to lose yourself looking for help, you know? And it's just a lesson I had to go through, you know. And like I'm at a point where I'm like very thankful for it. And like I have music I'm working on, and I do have other ideas for this channel and stuff, so I hope you guys stick with me as well. I'm not gonna keep this video too long. Sorry if I'm talking low as well. It's because like, I don't know, like I'm very kind of content right now, you know, I'm not gonna lie. But like I'm just proud of myself for getting to this mindset, seeing at this perspective, and just like really getting excited about the future, because now I know there's no one in my way. Not even myself. Like I can't even allow myself to get in my own way anymore, you know. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, this podcast. I may just call it a podcast, I don't know. So thank you. I hope you stay tuned. I hope you are liking the changes I am making to the channel. If you guys are watching and you've been, you know, remembering me from when I used to make ASMR Red Dead videos to the podcast to now. So thank you. I can't thank you enough, obviously, but I love you guys. You know, like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Get so much love in the streets. Penthouse stand Perry for the week. No, when I need peace, we must be destined to be. Please don't wake me up from the sleep. No pension dreams. Being hungry is happy to be, cause you know, sat in the sheets and the love like makeup fast, fuck slow. All